Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Sports Ball with Palmer. And first off, just want to say happy Red Friday to all who celebrate. Go Chiefs. Let's get the victory this Sunday. We are 0-2, but this is obviously a college football episode, specifically Missouri. We'll be recapping their dominant victory over the Louisiana Raging Cajuns last week, and then upcoming their Saturday matchup against the South Carolina Gamecocks and Beamer Ball, whatever you want to call it. But I will start by recapping the game. So Missouri definitely dominated this game, 52-10. Obviously, it's not close, but like it was never close. I mean, I thought that because the spread was like 28 and a half. I was just initially thinking like, okay, South Carolina's on deck, conference opener, coming off an emotional win the week before, rivalry game against Kansas. Like I would never thought they would be in danger of losing this game, but I just thought, oh, they might play with their food a little bit, maybe win by like 17, 24, something like that. And boy, they from the jump just took it to them. And I will say, like, and even like the first game of the season, like, okay, I think the spread was like 50 something. And it's like, okay, well, usually Missouri teams, especially under Drink, I mean, maybe a little bit under Pinkle they did, but, just don't run up the score like that. And not that we don't win, can't win big, but like sometimes like you see big spreads like that and you're like, okay, well maybe we'll still win by like 30, 40, something like that. But like 50, yeah, I just didn't think, okay, normally we don't, but no, they dominate that game from start to finish. And then even this one's like Louisiana, even people have been like, oh, it's just Louisiana. Like Louisiana's was in the Sun Belt Championship last year. Now, again, this team might not be as good as last year's, but they won 10 games last year. They have won 10 games 4 out of the last 6 years. So they're one of the better teams in the Sun Belt. So, like, this was a relatively like, it wasn't like playing Central Arkansas, so this was a relatively, and it's not going to be like when you play UMass the following week, next week after South Carolina. Like this was a quality group of five school. So the fact to do that, like you could just see just kind of the talent gap absolutely in this game. But no, they just came out and absolutely took it to them. I mean, Bo did throw his first interception in this game, but that was the lone mistake offensively. And really, outside of like two plays offensively, Louisiana did nothing all game. I mean, Missouri held them to 4 yards passing. Let me repeat that. They held them to 4 yards passing the entire game. And yeah, they gave up over 100 yards rushing, but a good chunk of that was literally on one run. Like outside of that one run that Zylan Perry broke for 84 yards, he didn't do anything. You know, so and that happened kind of like right before halftime, and it was just like, all right, but whatever, like it was frustrating, but it was just like, all right, whatever. But the defense dominated, like absolutely dominated. And that's what you want to see. Like this is what you want to see. So like Missouri teams haven't always done this in the past. But like the fact, like, and again, I love Brady Cook. I've said it before, but man, and I like Sam Horn. Feel for the guy. Like his season's done. They came out like he had season-ending surgery. So like again, hey, go focus on football, Sam. Go focus on playing with the Dodgers and trying to make your MLB dreams. Wish you the best of luck. But the ceiling for this team is so much higher with Bo, and the way Bo has played to start the season. Obviously, tougher games are coming. You're going to find out more about him, but the way he has started this season is just brilliant. And honestly, it and part of it has been the running game. The running game has taken the pressure off of Bo. So honestly, like Ahmad Hardy for Heisman, I didn't put, I kind of question mark, but like, and no disrespect to like Justice Haynes or some other running backs out there, but you, you have to talk about like if you're going to talk about them, and obviously you should, you have to put Ahmad Hardy in that conversation because he has just been fantastic to start the season. Yeah, okay, you can say, oh, it's Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, but hey, as they say, those guys are on scholarship too. So, I mean, Ahmad Hardy had 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Yeah, yeah. Hardy just completely dominated this game. 100% dominated this game. And even Bo has to be putting some sort of Heisman argument together, to start the year. So, I mean, there kind of isn't a lot to talk about this game because again, it was Louisiana, but because Bo only passed for 174 yards, and then Zollers came in the fourth quarter, or it might have been the end of the third, when the game was out of hand, and only threw 2 passes. And some people were kind of complaining, but like it was hot in Columbia, and like yeah, it was only in like the mid 90s, so not like super hot, but like how that field is, and with like the turf, it's hotter on the field than it is in the stands. So like, and a little bit was like, well, why'd you move this game up to noon instead of pushing it back? And it was like, well, that's 3 hours less because it takes a while for that turf to cool down. So you playing it then, and like obviously it was hot. So then, okay, when Zollers came in, it was just more about let's just get this game over with. Let's get out of here. We've won the game. Let's just get on out of here. But yeah, and Marquise Davis is a freshman. Like him and Zollers, like I'm excited for him and Zollers. Like even Marquise David came in and rushed for over 100 yards. I mean, Roberts only rushed for 46 yards this game, but again, and at least as Missouri gets into conference play, I don't know how much Marquise Davis. I mean, I'm sure he'll come in. So you almost have a 3-headed monster. Plus, you have Bo's legs. So again, like teams are gonna have to account for that, and at least early. Like I love Marquise Johnson, I love Josh Manning, love Brett Norfleet, love Daniel Blood. Like those are still absolute weapons. But Kevin Coleman, transfer from Mississippi State, like he's kind of been Bo's like number one target, like go to. Like he had 8 receptions for 84 yards today, or not today in the game. But yeah, he's kind of become Bo's number one target. So I don't care if I get flack for this, but and I know I've seen people nationally talk about it, but like Missouri, I think absolutely can make the CFP. Like you look at their schedule, like I mean, yeah, there's still some tough games coming up. Obviously, we're going to know more about them this week against South Carolina. You got Alabama, you got A&M. You have to go to Auburn. Vanderbilt looks definitely improved. You know, you got to go to Vanderbilt. You got to go to Norman to play Oklahoma. So those are like I mean, okay, yeah, you have to play at Arkansas, but you know, Missouri has kind of dominated them. So the Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma games are the three toughest road games. I don't think they're going to sweep. They'll probably lose one or both, or one or two of those road games, and then it's about can you beat uh, Alabama and A&M at home. I think they're going to get one of those, maybe not both. They could get both because again, and I'm so like I thought we could be a playoff team, and I'm on my prediction. I had Missouri going 10-2, and part of that was just a little bit homer and just kind of like upper wishful thinking. But now watching this team, like I'm trying to like rein in and keep from just like, dude, we're like, but man, with Bo, the way Bo has, like, I thought he would be decent. Like, yeah, you didn't see too much when he was at Penn State, but man, Bo has looked really good, and I really feel like the ceiling for this team is a lot higher than if Sam Horn was coming. And that's no shot at Sam. I think like with the Missouri would still be competent, still be good, but man, I truly think, and again, just looking at the schedule, and again, people like, okay, obviously their hopes for 6 games, but then obviously then to end the year, you're playing more on the road. Like you're playing that game at Auburn, at Vanderbilt, at Oklahoma, at Arkansas. So you're more on the road to end the season, and that's going to be tough. But I think they can, and obviously depending on what they do in conference play and how things shake up across the rest of the SEC, which I think the SEC is a little bit wide open. After watching the first couple weeks, I think the SEC is more wide open than maybe I thought. Like I thought it would be slam dunk Georgia, but and I'm not saying Georgia's not good and can't still win, but I think this is like LSU still look good, like they're up there, but man, offensively, like they're struggling a little bit. Ole Miss, now granted, definitely Ole Miss looks like they can be up there. I mean, obviously, Alabama lost week 1 to Florida State, uh, came back, dominated Louisiana, kind of, and then I thought the game would be a little bit closer, but then dominated Wisconsin. But I think Alabama is still a little bit down. So Texas A&M looks decent, but like you could say A&M. I mean, Texas has not looked as strong as I thought they might. And I was tempered a little bit, especially with Arch Manning like being the full time guy. But like Ole Miss, Vanderbilt could sneakily get into that conversation. Tennessee, I mean, I don't want to say they're the real deal, but they look better than they were last year. Like last year was really the defense that led them. Like now their offense has definitely improved. So Mississippi State's improved now. Granted, obviously you get that game at home. I don't think they're going to be competing for a playoff or SEC championship, but like I can see like 5, 6 teams, whatever it is, really competing. So and Missouri is one of them. I think Missouri truly can be a college football playoff team, one of the teams in the playoff, and sneakily be in there in the SEC championship, maybe. And again, if they are 10-2 and say lose that game to Georgia or Ole Miss, or have a rematch with A&M A&M gets them and they're 10-3, I, I mean, you look at Clemson last year; they were 9-3, and obviously then won and got in, but then they didn't penalize SMU for losing. So I think if you get there, especially at 2 losses, you're not going to be penalized for losing that conference championship game. So then you're looking at large, and if Missouri is hosting and then is playing like an LSU or a Miami, although I think Miami might be more one of the top seeds and have the bye, maybe a Florida State, them having to travel to Columbia, Missouri in December and January when it's cold as heck and there could be potential snow and ice. Like you look at last year, like SMU having to travel to Penn State, they got blown out. Tennessee having to travel to Ohio State, they got blown out. So that home field advantage is going to be huge. So even if Missouri doesn't get a bye, which I'm not going to say that I don't think we're looking at that, but if you're an at large and are potentially in the mix for hosting, I think at least absolutely Missouri could at least win one game and get to the second round. And from there, who knows? Again, Ohio soft got hot and made that run. So who knows? Maybe you could see this year another, like maybe Missouri does it. Maybe, you know, an Ole Miss who maybe isn't in the bye, or Oregon, or maybe Nebraska, or someone like that, playing in that first round and playing at home and then getting that momentum going into the next matchup, whereas they haven't played and maybe make a run. So, we'll see. It's going to be fun to look at. So then this week, the South Carolina Gamecocks are heading to Columbia. It's the Battle of Columbia's and dubbed the Mayor's Cup. So are taking on the Missouri Tigers, who are now ranked number 23. They were ranked 25 going into last week, and they got bumped up 2 spots this week. So they are now number 23 after starting the year unranked. Uh, there's kind of revenge on the mind of Missouri, because Missouri did finish again, back to back 10-win seasons. Again, last year, that's including the bowl game, because they did finish 9-3, and one of those 3 losses was to South Carolina in crushing fashion, because Missouri took the lead late on a Luther Burden touchdown with about a minute to play, and it looked like Missouri was going to walk away with the win and then very much likely finish 10-2 and probably have made, even with those losses to A&M and Alabama last year, may have made the playoff or at least been more in the conversation. But that loss really is what kept Missouri out of the playoff last year. So you know there's revenge on their mind to avenge that loss last year. And Missouri has owned, like coming into that game, Missouri had won 5 in a row against South Carolina. So they are looking to start a new streak. So we'll see. And again, at least right now, Missouri is 11.5 point favorites. Now, part of that, because it did, the initial line was like 6.5, 7.5, something like that. So this line has crept up, and part of that is because Lenore Sellers, quarterback for South Carolina, was injured last week in their absolute drubbing of a loss to Vanderbilt. He came out with a concussion, so obviously he's on concussion protocol. So at least reports have said it's looking good. Like he could play, but obviously he still has to pass the protocol to play. And so because of that, you have seen this line go up. It even, and it's kind of, even if Sellers plays, I don't know, because I mean, obviously they only scored 7 points last week, and I was with them in, and obviously they didn't score the rest of the game with the backup. But even if he plays, how healthy is he gonna be? And they have kind of struggled offensively to start the year. Like they struggled against Virginia Tech in the opening week. And again, could maybe was that just week one um rust, whatever. But so yeah, Missouri is 11.5 point favorites. The over under is 48.5. I could see the over hitting maybe alone with Mizzou, although maybe slightly into the under. Um but Missouri give them credit, especially to start the year. And I think they've covered, I think someone said 4 or 5 straight games now. Um, so even at 11.5, I could still see Missouri because, I mean, obviously, I'm sure they held some back for Kansas, but I'm sure even in that game, they probably didn't show stuff offensively and defensively. And then even last week, like, I'm sure there's stuff that they have held back, putting on film for this game. So you're probably going to see some different stuff offensively that South Carolina isn't going to be prepared for. So I think Missouri can cover this. I think Missouri gets to 4-0, and I mean I could still see, especially if Sellers doesn't play, that it's like, oh well, you played them without Sellers. But again, I haven't been high on South Carolina this entire offseason, and nothing has truly made me from watching them waver from that. So I think Missouri wins this game and potentially going away. Like I think they can win by 14, 17 points and kind of win this going away. And Missouri is still probably going to be slept on a little bit nationally. And it's like, oh, they're still in zoo. Like, you beat South Carolina. And again, I forget what their win total was. I think it was like 8. I don't think it was 9. I think it was 8 wins. Honestly, I'm under that. I'm kind of all over that under for South Carolina wins. And like Missouri's was 7. I'm all over that on the over from Missouri's too. So I just think there's going to be a lot this week. Now, Missouri hasn't showed that they're kind of holding back, and again, Missouri has kind of owned this. And like you are hearing like from South Carolina people that they're they're not too confident about this game. So, and even some of them are like, yeah, we're not going to be as good this year. Like we're going to take a step back this year. So, also, I just want to beat Shane Beamer because I kind of don't like him. He's kind of arrogant and annoying. So, any chance to beat him and watch him lose, like watching them lose to Vandy last week was awesome. So, but with that, that is going to wrap up the Missouri preview of this week, and then also obviously the recap from last week against Louisiana. And I will now get into my week 4 college picks. So there are Friday night games, and kind of an interesting slate, but we'll see. Um, so tonight, Tulsa is taking on Oklahoma State. Tulsa's 1-2, and Oklahoma State is 1-1 coming into this matchup. Oklahoma State is 9.5 point favorites, and the over under is 54.5. Phew, they got drubbed by Oregon. Well, 2 weeks ago because they were off last week. Yeah, they got drubbed by Oregon, so it's kind of like, well, what kind of Oklahoma State team is this? But I still feel like they are better than Tulsa, so Give me the Pokes to get to 2-1, and Tulsa 1-3. Next up, the Iowa Hawkeyes are heading to Rutgers to take on the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers is undefeated at 3-0 coming in, and Iowa is 2-1. Iowa is 1.5 point favorites, and the over/under set at 45.5. I mean, I think Rutgers is decent, but I mean, there's definitely still some questions about Iowa offensively. I still think they get this done. I still feel like they are the better team. I mean, obviously the line it's pretty much a pick 'em. So, but and give me Iowa. Iowa 3-1. Rutgers gets their first loss and is 3-1 as well. Then on Saturday, and again, well, I mean, there was some low level FBS and FCX action on Thursday, but as far as like Group of Five and Power Four, there were no games on Thursday. But again, just to go over how I mean, I should have already did it, but so I will go like by day. So like obviously, if there's Thursday games, I'm gonna start with Thursday, then move to Friday, and then Saturday, and then but Saturday is going to be I'll go over the top 25 matchups, then go SEC, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, and then just other game. I'll go and talk about the service academies, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marshall, and just other kind of like group of four games I find interesting. Uh, so just so you know, that's how the lay order I will be doing the picks. I apologize for not saying that before making my Friday picks, but that is just how everything will go. Just so it's easy for you to follow along. But Saturday we do got some. It's a little bit better slate than people are giving it for, although not the best. Could have been better, but we'll see. First up, Texas Tech is heading to Utah to take on those Utes. Both teams are undefeated coming into this game. Texas Tech is ranked 17th and Utah is number 16. Utah is 3.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 57.5. Honestly, give me Utah. Like that is a tough place to play. Like you're playing at elevation. That's going to be tough for Tech. So give me Utah to remain unbeaten at 4-0. Tech falls to 3-1. Next up, the Auburn Tigers are heading to Norman to take on Boomer Sooner Oklahoma and the Oklahoma Sooners. Both teams also are undefeated coming into this matchup. Oklahoma is 7.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 47.5. I do think Auburn can kind of keep this a little bit close, although Oklahoma still probably. And 7.5, like, okay, you're talking 8. I think Oklahoma wins closer to like a touchdown or by like 6. So I think Auburn covers. I think Oklahoma's going to win this game. I mean, Norman's still a tough place to play. So unfortunately, give me Boomer Sooner. Oklahoma remains unbeaten at 4-0, and Auburn suffers their first loss at 3 and falls to 3-1. Won't change it, but next up, the Michigan Wolverines are heading to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska is unbeaten at 3-0 coming into this game, and Michigan is 2-1. Oh, wow, it actually fell because I had seen Michigan at like 3.5 point favorites. So, but at least what I'm saying here, Michigan's only 1.5, so it's basically kind of been more down to a pick 'em, probably because money's coming in on Nebraska. And the over-under is set at 47.5. Obviously, I like both teams. I'm a fan of both teams. So this will be a fun, kind of almost win-win game. But and we'll see. I mean, I think this is definitely the game with because Sharon Moore missed last week being suspended, and then he's missing this week. Although this week, I think last week he was still able to be like in the building, but this week he's not allowed. And obviously, last week wasn't allowed to travel, like not allowed to travel with the team. You know, all this, and you could, you know, okay, is this Biff? Last week was it Biff because like opening up? So are they still going to open it up and let Bryce, chuck it around a little bit? I don't know. I think Nebraska's definitely fired up for this game. They haven't been 4-0 in like a decade. I mean, again, you can always look, is Texas back? Is Miami back? Is Florida State back? I don't think you're back until you've at least played in or at least are in the Final Four in the CFB. And then winning a national championship's kind of like the cherry on top to like really like, yeah, now we're like even like, boom, definitely for sure back. But like we're back, but okay, cool. Like you're definitely in the mix for winning a national championship. Now I'm not saying like Nebraska isn't or can't or even Michigan, but I think this is gonna be a tough. I think again I said Michigan I think I said like 11-1, so I didn't have them losing that Oklahoma game. Maybe I should have taken, but even then watching that, like I think Michigan, like again, you could see they kept the clamps on Bryce. If they would have opened it up, probably would have had a better chance of winning. But so even with that, like again, it's a tough road environment. Nebraska's going to be ready. I am going to take Nebraska. I know I took it on both previews when I was talking about both. I gave Nebraska the win. I'm still going to give them the win. Nebraska remains unbeaten at 4-0. Michigan falls to 2-2, calling the upset for Nebraska. And again, and then next up, again, just preview. So if you want to go back and kind of see my full breakdown, just back up in this video. But South Carolina's heading to Missouri. Missouri's 9.5-point favorites, and over under is 48.5 again. Missouri remains unbeaten 4-0. South Carolina falls to 2-2. Next up, the Florida Gators are heading to Miami to take on those Miami Hurricanes. Unfortunately, this is where College Game Day decided to go. I don't understand. Like, you could have gone to Utah for that Texas Tech Utah game. I mean, I do think South Carolina lost, and now being unranked hurt. At least if South Carolina was still, although they announced it before their ranking, so even then at the time, South Carolina was still ranked. Could have gone there. Could have gone to Ole Miss for Tulane Ole Miss. You could have gone to Indiana for Illinois, Indiana. So why are you going to Miami and with a 1-2 Florida, who honestly, again, I've been out on Florida. Like Lightweight threw 5 picks last week against LSU. And then like within minutes after that game going final, they're like, we're going to Miami for Miami, Florida. Like, what? And no shade on South Florida, but okay. No, I mean, I think they should still be ranked. But, you know, they got trounced by Miami last week. And South Florida beat Miami. Now, again, I think South Florida is still a decent team, probably should still be ranked over Notre Dame, who's 0-2, but they're still ranked. Whatever. Okay. All right. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, there was a couple better places for game day to go this week than Miami for this matchup. If I didn't say Miami's 8.5-point favorites and the over under is 51.5, that's kind of moved up. I know Miami was initially 7.5, but I still think they can cover it. I think this is a bloodbath. I think Miami just absolutely destroys Florida this week and gets Napier on the hot seat even more than he is. Like, he probably shouldn't even be the coach right now. but I think Miami absolutely trounces them. And give me my music. All right. Next up, Southeast Louisiana is heading to Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers. LSU is 3-0, and Southeast Louisiana is 2-1. Kind of not surprised since it's a FCS that there isn't a spread, but there have been, but whatever. Give me LSU. They remain unbeaten 4-0. Southeast Louisiana falls to 2-2. Next up, the Oregon State Beavers are heading to Eugene to take on the Oregon Ducks. Oregon's undefeated at 3-0, and Oregon State's winless at 0-3 coming into this contest. Oregon is 34.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 56.5. I think they can cover that. Give me Oregon big. Oregon remains unbeaten at 4-0, and Oregon State remains winless at 0-4. Next up, the Tulane Green Wave are heading to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. Both teams are unbeaten coming into this game at 3-0 each. Ole Miss is 11.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 61.5. I mean, Tulane's pretty good. This might be their only loss of the season. I think they keep it close for maybe a half, maybe 3/4, and then I think Ole Miss pulls away. But give me Ole Miss in this game to remain undefeated at 4-0. Tulane suffers their first loss and falls to 3-1. Next up, the Purdue Boilermakers are heading to South Bend to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Again, I don't know how Notre Dame is still ranked at 0-2. Whatever. Notre Dame is 25.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 51.5. Purdue's just not good. I think Notre Dame covers this, but definitely give me Notre Dame to get their first win of the season. They improve to 1-2, and Purdue falls to 2-2. Next up, the Michigan State Spartans are heading to LA to take on the USC Trojans. USC is 18.5-point favorites. Wow. And the over-under is set at 54.5. I think Michigan State's improved. I think they can cover this because I still don't know what USC, granted I don't really watch because they've been playing late and it's like I just can't stay up to watch those late. And this is a late game. I mean, it's a 10 o'clock kickoff. So, like, yeah, my old butt can't stay up that late anymore to watch some of these late games. But I'll still take USC to win, but I do think Michigan State covers. So, and if I didn't say both are unbeaten coming into this game, each are 3-0, but give me USC to remain unbeaten at 4-0, and Michigan State gets their first loss and is 3-1. UAB Blazers head to Knoxville to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Both teams are 2-1 coming into this contest. Tennessee's 38.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 69.5. Simply, just give me Tennessee. They're 3-1. UAB 2-2. Kent State is heading to Tallahassee to take on the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State is 2-0 coming in, and Kent State is 1-2. Florida State is 44.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 55.5. I mean, kind of simply, give me Florida State to remain unbeaten. Kent State falls to 1-3. Give me my music. All right. Next up, Temple is heading to Atlanta to take on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech is 3-0 coming in, and Temple is 2-1. Georgia Tech is 23.5 point favorites, and over under set at 52 and a half. Simply give me Georgia Tech to remain unbeaten at 4-0. Temple Falls 2-2. Again, this is, like I said, this is probably even more so, but definitely should have been in Max's Illinois and Indiana. Both teams are undefeated coming into the game. Indiana is 6, and I think that line has climbed because I know it was a little bit like they were. I think they were like 4.5, 5.5. So that it's climbed a little bit, but they are 6.5 point favorites, and the over under is 52.5. Granted, they have a lot. They lost a lot from their playoff team, and again, they got destroyed by Notre Dame last year in the playoff. And a lot of those players like have graduated, so they have a lot of transfers coming in. Whereas Illinois is pretty much returning their entire team. So give me Illinois in this game. Kind of don't like that coming out of my mouth because I don't really like Illinois. But give me Illinois to remain undefeated at 4-0. Indiana suffers their first loss and falls to 3-1. Georgia State is heading to Nashville to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt's undefeated coming in at 3-0, and Georgia State is 1-2. Vanderbilt's 20.5 point favorites, and the over-under is 52.5. Simply give me Vanderbilt. They're really good. They're improved. Like, they're going to be sneaky competition this year. And so give me them to remain unbeaten, get to 4-0, and Georgia State falls to 1-3. Sam Houston is heading to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns. Texas is 2-1, and Sam Houston is winless at 0-3. Wow, this is falling because I had seen it at 41.5. Like, I'm not surprised, but still. And then over under is 50.5. Texas is gonna win. Like, so give me Texas, but as always, horns down. Tell me what makes you think they can cover this. They didn't cover last week, and they were big. Like, what tells me that they are going to cover this game? Like, they might, but yeah, like, tell me, like, what makes you think after watching them the first 3 weeks that they can cover this? No, again, taking them to win, but as always, horns down. Horns down. Forever. Sandlot quote in there. Come on now. So then, as we jump into the SEC, Arkansas is heading to Memphis. Like, oh, that's a little bit weird, but the Arkansas Razorbacks are heading to Memphis to take on the Memphis Tigers. Memphis is 3-0 coming in, and Arkansas is 2-1. Arkansas 7.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 61.5. Simply just give me Arkansas to get to 3-1. Memphis suffers their first loss; they fall to 3-1. Northern Illinois is heading to Stark Vegas to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mississippi State is 3-0 coming in, and Northern Illinois is 1-1. Mississippi State's 21.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 48.5. I mean, again, I think Mississippi State's improved now. I think, like, okay, they might be going 4-0 in non-con. Now, again, I think they're still going to struggle to maybe win a conference game, but they might win one. So we'll see. But I'll take them to get to 4-0. Northern Illinois 1-2. Because the rest of the SEC is obviously ranked, so that'll be it for the other SEC matchups. Now we will jump into the Big 12. First up, we have the West Virginia Mountaineers, and I called it, hey, fresh off their backyard brawl victory against the Panthers, they are heading to Lawrence to take on the Kansas Chicken Hawks. Both teams are 2-1 coming in. Kansas is 13.5 point favorites, and the over-under is set at 54.5. Like, again, tell me what, looking at Kansas, how they are this big of a favorite. Should they be favored? At least at home, probably because this isn't like the Kansas of even 5, 6 years ago, but I don't think they should be this big a favorite over West Virginia. So with that, give me my music.
Morgantown, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Morgantown, Morgantown, WB. Morgantown, WB.
Give me the West Virginia Mountaineers. They are 3-1. Will improve to 3-1. Kansas falls to 2-2. Next up, Arizona State heads to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears. Baylor is both teams are 2-1, and Baylor is 2.5 point favorites, and over under is set at 59.5. I mean, I think Arizona State is still decent, but I think Baylor, even with that loss to Auburn, I think they're still good and will be in that mix. Give me Baylor 3-1, Arizona State 2-2. Next up, SMU is heading to Fort Worth to take on the TCU Horned Frogs. TCU's 2-0 and SMU's 2-1 coming into this game. TCU is 6.5 point favorites. The over under is set at 63.5. Give me the Horned Frogs. They remain unbeaten at 3-0. SMU falls to 2-2. This is a little bit of a revenge spot for TCU, as they lost this game to SMU last year. So give me TCU, especially on the revenge angle. So next up, the Fighting Bill Belichick's, aka North Carolina Tar Heels, are heading to Orlando to the Bounce House to take on the UCF Golden Knights. UCF is unbeaten coming in at 2-0. North Carolina is 2-1. UCF is 7.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 46.5. Again, I'm not that high on North Carolina. I think they're definitely going to go through some growing pains this year. Give me UCF to remain unbeaten at 3-0. North Carolina falls to 2-2. Next up, the BYU Cougars are heading to, I don't remember where they play, but they are heading to East Carolina to take on the East Carolina Pirates. BYU is unbeaten at 2-0 coming into this, and East Carolina is 2-1. BYU is 6.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 49.5. Obviously, they're not ranked, but give me BYU on upset alert. Also, give me my music. Give me East Carolina to upset BYU. They get to 3-1, and BYU suffers their first loss and falls to 2-1. Next up, we have Wyoming heading to Boulder to take on the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado is 1-2 coming in, and Wyoming is 2-1. Colorado is 12.5 point favorites, and over/under set at 49 or 45.5. Give me. Give me Colorado 2-2. Wyoming falls to 2-2. Next up, we will head to the Big Ten. And starting off, the Maryland Terrapins are heading to Madison to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin's 2-1, and Maryland is 3-0 coming into this contest. Wisconsin's 9.5 point favorites, and the over/under is 44.5. I still don't think Wisconsin's all that good, but I don't think Maryland's that good either. Give me the home team. Give me Wisconsin to get to 3-1. Maryland suffers their first defeat of the year. They will fall. Uh, they will fall to 3-1. Again, the rest are all ranked matchups except one. The only other non is the Washington Huskies are heading to, I believe it's Pullman. Yep. Okay. I was right. Pullman, Washington, to take on the Washington State Cougars. Washington's 2-0 and Washington State's 2-1 coming into this. Washington is 20.5 point favorites, and the over under is set at 52.5. I think Washington is going to be improved. I don't know if they'll be at the top, but they'll probably be in the middle of the pack of the Big Ten. Give me Washington to remain unbeaten at 3-0, and Washington State falls to 2-2. Next up, we'll head to the ACC. And first up, Syracuse Orangemen are heading to Clemson, South Carolina to take on the Clemson Tigers. Clemson is 17.5 point favorites, and the over-under set at 54.5. Clemson's 1-2 coming in, and Syracuse is 2-1. There has to be some worry about this Clemson team, Clemson program a little bit. I mean, their defense is definitely still legit, but man, their offense has struggled. But I think this is a get right game for them. I don't know if they cover, but I think they get right and get a win here. So I have them getting to back to 500 at 2-2, and Syracuse falling to 2-2. Next up, Wofford is heading to Blacksburg to take on the Virginia Tech Hokies. Both teams are winless coming in at 0-3. Virginia Tech did fire their coach this week. Oh, and I also should have mentioned UCLA fired their coach as well. They should, you got embarrassed by Old Dominion, so almost kind of like, well, maybe I should pick Wofford, but they got to win a game, right? I mean, it'll be tough in conference play. Like, I'm just gonna take them. Like, they gotta win, right? Virginia Tech 1-3, Wofford 0-4. Next up, Bowling Green is heading to Louisville to take on the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville's unbeaten at 2-0 coming in, and Bowling Green is 2-1. Louisville is 25.5 point favorites, and the over/under set at 50.5. I think Louisville, again, is sneaky. They're gonna be better this year. I thought it was Clemson. I think Miami's the class of the ACC right now, but I think they can kind of be right there in the mix, especially with Georgia Tech. So give me Louisville to remain unbeaten at 3-0, and Bowling Green falls to 2-2. Next up, the NC State Wolfpack are heading to Duke to take on the Blue Devils. Duke is 1-2, and NC State is unbeaten at 3-0 coming in. Duke's 3.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 57.5. I mean, I think they're improved, but I think NC State is like somewhat decent this year. Give me NC State to remain unbeaten at 4-0. Duke falls to 1-3. Next up, the Stanford Cardinals are heading to Charlottesville to take on the Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia is 2-1 and Stanford's 1-2. I still don't think Stanford's that good. I mean, they beat Minnesota last week. I still don't think they're that good. Virginia is 16.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 48.5. Give me Virginia 3-1, Stanford 1-3. The Cal Golden Bears are heading to San Diego to take on the San Diego State Aztecs. San Diego State's 1-1, and Cal is unbeaten at 3-0 coming in. Cal is 13.5 point favorites, and the over/under is set at 47.5. Give me Cal to remain unbeaten at 4-0. San Diego State falls to 1-2. Next up, we are going to talk about Army and Navy. I believe Air Force is off this week. Or, no, I think Navy's off and Air Force is playing. But North Texas is heading to West Point to take on the Army Black Knights. Army's 1-1 coming in, and North Texas is unbeaten at 3-0. North Texas is 1.5 point favorites, and the over under is set at 51.5. Give me Army because I'm just kind of probably not ever going to pick against them. So if they lose, they lose. But I mean, go Army, beat Navy, support the troops. Why not? Next is Air Force, and they are in Boise State is heading to Colorado Springs to take on Air Force. Both teams are 1-1, and Boise State's 11.5 point favorites, and the over/under set at 51.5. I still think Boise State, they're going to take a step back, but they're still decent. They're one of the better teams in the Mountain West. So give me Boise State to bounce back and get the win. Or I don't know if bounce back, but just have them. I just have them getting the win. The UNLV Rebels are heading to Miami, Ohio, to take on Miami of Ohio. My UNLV is unbeaten coming in at 3-0, and Miami of Ohio is 0-2. UNLV is 2.5 point favorites, and the over under set at 50.5. Give me UNLV. And then also, I head to the Sun Belt as Marshall is heading to Middle Tennessee. Both teams are 1-2 coming in. Marshall's 2.5 point favorites, and the over under set at 47.5. Go Herd. Give me Marshall 2-2. Middle Tennessee 1-3. And then also just another game, kind of interesting. The James Madison Dukes are heading to take on the Liberty Flames. Liberty is 1-2, and JMU is 1-1. JMU 7.5 point favorites, and over under set at 47.5. Both teams are pretty good, especially in the Sun Belt. They're two of the better teams. Liberty was one of the favorites coming in. I think they win this game, especially being at home. So give me Liberty at 2-2. JMU 1-2. But with that, that is going to conclude this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. On my next episode, I am going to, or at least episodes, recap the week of Royals baseball against the Mariners and Blue Jays, and then recap the Missouri-South Carolina game, recap the Chiefs Sunday Night Football matchup against the Giants, and then also recap the Week 3 NFL action and Week 4 college football action. So stay tuned for those videos. And then just got to do it.
What's up, Mizzou?
Tiger Nation, baby.
Hey, Tanner, you got something for us?
Yeah, man, we help me freestyle this song. No problem, man. One take max.
You think we can do it once?
Easy.
Where's Coach A these days
I
anyway?
mean, I got to.
Arkansas?
Come on, Andrew. Faith and hate, man. You know the worst thing about Arkansas?
What's that?
It's got Kansas in it.
No, we're not knocking on the door. We're busting in, and we ain't waiting anymore.
As always, please like the video, please subscribe, click on that notification bell so you can get notified when I drop new episodes. I hope you guys have a great Friday. Happy Red Friday to all who celebrate once again. Hope you guys have a great weekend watching college football, NFL, MLB. Just hope you guys have a great weekend. And hey, Jesus loves you. And as always, MIZ.